He bought a hangar for $1. The ancient warship was junk, but what guarded it was far more frightening. Most people avoided it because the station was old, the air recycled too many times, and the walls were covered in rust. Caleb liked it. It was quiet. He could work on machines without someone yelling at him for making a mistake. He bought scraps, old engines, broken robots, and sometimes pieces of ships. Most of the time, it was not worth much. But Caleb had patience, and he knew value often hid in the junk. One morning, the station council sent out a message. The public hangar at the far end of the docking bay was being sold for $1. $1, everyone laughed. "That place is haunted," one trader said. "The doors never close right, the lights flicker, nothing that goes in there comes out in one piece." Caleb read the notice 3 times. $1. Even if it was haunted, it would cost more to repair a scrap engine than the hangar itself. He made his way to the auction. The doors were tall, scratched with marks of old claws or tools, no one could tell. Dust floated in the air. The smell was a mix of rust, oil, and something faintly metallic, almost like electricity, but not quite. He signed the papers. $1. The council officer smiled and said, "Good luck, Harris, you'll need it." Caleb did not answer. He liked silence. He stepped inside. The hangar was big, bigger than anything he expected. Empty, mostly, but in the center was a shape covered in tarps and old cargo crates. It looked like a ship, long and angular. The metal was black and dark green, scratched and dented with patches missing. The engines were broken, the wings bent, the hull scarred. It was old, ancient. Caleb ran his hand along the hull. The metal was cold but solid. He tapped it with his tool, listening. The sound was hollow in some places and thick in others. He felt a strange pressure in his chest. It was not fear exactly. It was curiosity mixed with something heavier. It was like the ship was waiting, watching him. He called Lily Carter the next day. Lily was a station mechanic, small and quick, with short hair and grease-stained fingers. She was always ready to fix something impossible. Caleb explained what he found. Lily raised an eyebrow. "That looks like junk," she said. "I've seen old ships. This is older than most of them. Looks like it should have been melted down centuries ago." Caleb smiled faintly. "That's why I called you. I need someone who can see beyond junk." Lily laughed and followed him into the hangar. She walked slowly around the ship, scanning every surface with her portable scanner. Lights blinked as the scanner touched the hull. Some readings were strange, old, almost alien. The metals were not from anything Lily recognized. "This is weird," she said. "These alloys aren't used anywhere now. This ship is too old. I've never seen anything like it." Caleb nodded. "That's why I think it's valuable, not in credits but in history. Maybe technology, maybe something else." Lily shrugged. "Maybe, or maybe it's cursed. Some things shouldn't exist." They removed the tarps carefully. Underneath was the full shape of the ship. It had an angular, sharp design, like the kind humans only imagined in old stories. The hull seemed to shimmer faintly, not like light, but like it had its own glow. No engines worked, no lights turned on, but the shape made the hair on Caleb's arms stand up. "It's massive," Lily whispered. "How did this even get here?" "No one knows," Caleb said. "The records say nothing about this hangar. No ship docked here in decades. Nothing like this existed in known archives." He stepped closer and touched the hull again. A shiver ran through his fingers. The metal felt alive in a way, not warm, not cold, but aware. He stepped back quickly. Lily noticed his sudden movement. "What's wrong?" she asked. "Nothing," Caleb said. "Just this ship feels strange." They spent hours examining the exterior. Caleb noted the markings, strange symbols that were not any human language. They were carved deep, not painted, as if they were meant to last for centuries. The lines formed patterns that seemed to shift slightly when he looked away and back. He shook his head. His brain tried to make sense of it, but he could not. Lily ran her hands over the hull. "I don't think anyone built this for humans," she said. "It's alien. But not like we've ever seen. It's old, really old, older than any empire we know." Caleb studied the hangar doors. "It came here somehow, maybe intentionally, maybe it was abandoned, maybe it's waiting for someone." "Someone like you," Lily joked, trying to lighten the mood. Caleb did not answer. He stared at the ship, his mind racing with possibilities. If this ship still had power somewhere, even hidden, it could change everything. Humans rarely find things older than the first star fleets. Older alien technology is almost always lost or destroyed. As night fell, Caleb left the hangar, locking the doors behind him. The shadows inside the hangar moved strangely. He could swear the ship seemed to shift slightly, a corner turning as if to follow him. He shook his head, tired, imagining things. The next morning he returned with a small drone. The drone hovered around the ship, mapping it, scanning the metal, recording the markings. The data was strange. The hull gave readings inconsistent with known physics. The ship's mass seemed slightly heavier than the volume suggested. Energy readings were faint but present. There was a low hum, a hum that was almost too quiet to hear. Caleb adjusted the drone closer. The hum grew slightly louder. Then the drone's lights flickered. Static appeared on the video feed. A shadow moved across the ship that was not cast by the lights. Caleb froze. Lily was still outside the hangar fixing a generator. "Did you see that?" he whispered. The shadow vanished before he could point. The hum stopped. The air felt heavier. Lily called out unaware. "Caleb, lunch!" He shook his head, still staring at the ship. His heart pounded. Whatever was inside that hull was not just old. It was awake. He spent the afternoon cleaning small sections of the hull. Every time he touched it, a vibration ran through his fingers. It was subtle but constant. The markings seemed to shimmer when he touched the metal. He could feel a connection, a pull toward the center of the ship. By evening, he sat back, exhausted. The hangar doors creaked as if sighing. He felt eyes on him, not human, not machine. The ship waited, and he knew somehow that it was choosing to let him stay, at least for now. As he walked away, he whispered to himself, "I don't know what you are, but I will find out." The hangar stood silent in the dark, but not empty. Something ancient, far older than the humans orbiting the dead planet, was awake inside. And it had noticed him. Caleb returned to the hangar the next morning. The sun had not yet risen over the dead planet below, and the station's lights cast long shadows across the empty docking bay. The hangar stood silent, but Caleb felt it again. The same pressure, subtle and heavy, like the ship was waiting for him to step inside. He unlocked the doors and stepped through, the smell of old metal and dust filling his nose. He brought Lily with him today. She carried her toolkit and a small portable scanner. Caleb had not slept well. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the hull shimmering, felt the vibration in his fingers. He wanted to understand it, but he also felt cautious. There was something different about this ship. "I don't like this," Lily said quietly as they approached the hull. "It's too big, too old. It shouldn't exist. How did no one know about it?" Caleb shook his head. "That's the mystery. Maybe someone hid it. Maybe it was abandoned for a reason. Either way, it's here now. We can't ignore it." Lily set her tools down and scanned the hull. The readings were strange. Energy signals were scattered across the ship, but they didn't match any human or alien technology known in recorded history. Caleb frowned at the screen. "Look at this," he said. "It's alive in a way. It reacts when we touch it, when we get close." Lily's brow furrowed. "Reacts. Machines don't just react like that. It's thinking." Caleb nodded. "Maybe, or it remembers something. Maybe it's waiting for someone." They spent the morning examining the ship's exterior. The hull was scratched, dented, patched in places with unknown metals. The markings glowed faintly in the scanner's light, pulsing like a heartbeat. Caleb traced his fingers over them. The hum returned, low, vibrating through his bones. It was almost comforting and terrifying at the same time. Lily stepped back. "We need to be careful. Touching it might do something. We don't know what." Caleb ignored her warning. Curiosity burned in him. He pushed aside the hatch covering a side entrance. It was heavy, corroded, and did not move easily. Sweat formed on his forehead as he worked the latch. Finally, with a loud creak, the door opened. Darkness inside. He activated a small light and peeked in. The interior was massive. Walls covered in more markings, wires running in patterns no human engineer could understand. The air smelled strange, almost metallic, but alive. Caleb stepped in, feeling the vibration stronger than ever. Lily followed cautiously. "This is insane," she whispered. "We shouldn't be inside something we don't understand." Caleb ignored her. He felt drawn toward the center of the ship. Every step he took seemed to make the hum louder. The floor pulsed slightly under his boots, almost like it was alive. He touched a console covered in alien symbols. A faint glow spread across the surface, lighting up the room. "It's working?" Lily asked. Her voice trembled. Caleb nodded. "Somehow, but not like a normal ship. It doesn't respond to commands, it reacts to me." He ran his hand along the console. Lights blinked, wires hummed. The markings on the walls shifted slightly like they were breathing. Caleb's heart raced. He stepped back, overwhelmed. "What is this?" Lily asked. "How is it even possible?" Caleb shook his head. "I don't know." It shouldn't exist. It's older than anything we know. Older than any empire, any warship. It's ancient. The hum grew louder suddenly. The ship seemed to shake just slightly enough to make Caleb stumble. A low, deep sound filled the hangar. It was not music, not a warning. It was a voice inside his mind, not words, but feelings, memories. He froze. Lily grabbed his arm. "Caleb, what is it? Are you okay?" He swallowed hard. It's alive, not alive like a person, but aware. It knows we are here." The console's glow pulsed in rhythm with the hum. Caleb realized something terrifying. This was no ordinary ship. It had a mind, a purpose, and it was ancient. Lily shivered. "So, we're in a giant alien brain that could crush us if it wanted?" Caleb forced a laugh. "Something like that, but I think it's curious about me." He stepped closer to the console. Every movement made the hum vibrate through his body. The floor beneath him felt alive. The markings glowed brighter when he touched them, pulsing in patterns he could not understand. He felt a strange connection, like the ship was trying to communicate without words. "It's testing us," Caleb said finally. "Or maybe judging us. It knows humans exist. Maybe it wants to see if we are dangerous." Lily looked horrified. "Dangerous?" "It could destroy this station in a second if it wanted." "Do you realize that?" Caleb nodded, but he did not step back. He placed his hand fully on the console. The hum became a vibration that ran through his whole body. Images flashed in his mind, fleets of ships burning, alien worlds falling, strange beings in armor fighting wars that lasted centuries. He stumbled, overwhelmed by visions not his own. Lily grabbed him. "Caleb, stop, you can't control this." He shook his head, trying to steady himself. "I'm not controlling it. It's showing me something. It's memory. It remembers wars, battles. It remembers the species that made it. And it remembers humans, but it thinks we're new, weak, untested." The hum slowed. Caleb looked around. The console's glow dimmed. The floor stopped pulsing. The ship was silent again. For a moment, he thought he was imagining it all. Lily studied him carefully. "You didn't hurt it, did you?" Caleb shook his head. "No, I just touched it. It wanted me to see." They spent the rest of the day exploring carefully. Caleb touched some parts but avoided areas that seemed dangerous. He noticed that the ship reacted only to him. Lily could touch the hull without response. The ship seemed to recognize him specifically. "Why me?" Lily asked. Caleb shrugged. "I don't know, maybe it sees something in humans that no one else does. Maybe it waited a long time for someone like me." As evening approached, Caleb decided to leave. He felt the ship watching as he walked away. The hum returned briefly, almost like a sigh. He locked the hangar doors and stepped into the docking bay. Lily followed, exhausted. "You know," she said, "I don't think this is just a ship. It's alive and it's dangerous. We should leave it alone." Caleb shook his head. I can't, not after today. It's waiting for something, or someone, and I think it wants to show me more." They left the hangar, the shadows inside shifting slightly as if the ship itself was moving in the dark. Caleb felt a mix of fear and excitement. He had found something older than any human mind could imagine, something that should not exist. Back in his small quarters, Caleb reviewed the scanner data. The ship's materials were alien, older than the oldest star maps. Energy sources that should have decayed millions of years ago still pulsed faintly. The console readings were alive, fluctuating as if breathing. Caleb realized this was no ordinary ship. It was a weapon, a vessel of knowledge, a guardian of an ancient era. He fell asleep late, dreams filled with pulsing lights, shadows, and whispers in a language he did not know. He woke the next day with the same feeling. He had been chosen, or noticed. He did not know which, but he felt the weight of it. Caleb returned to the hangar. The ship waited silently. He stepped inside. The hum returned. The vibrations ran through the floor and up his legs. He placed his hand on the console. This time it pulsed stronger. The ship was awake, aware, and no longer passive. It tested him, studying him in ways he could not understand. Lily watched him quietly. She did not touch anything, but she stayed close. She knew Caleb was not just curious. He was trying to understand, to communicate, to connect. Hours passed. The ship did not attack. It did not respond in words. It simply observed. But Caleb felt it thinking, judging, considering. He was no longer just a human touching a broken warship. He was part of something bigger, something ancient. As the sun set over the dead planet, the hangar doors closed behind them. The ship remained inside, dark and silent, but alive. Caleb knew one thing for certain. It was no junk. It was not abandoned. It was waiting, and whatever guarded it was far more powerful than he could imagine. And Caleb knew that whatever came next, He and Lily were no longer simple humans buying scraps. They had stumbled into a living relic, a memory of a war that should have been forgotten, and the first test had only begun the next morning. Caleb returned to the hangar before sunrise. The station was quiet. Only the distant hum of air recyclers and the faint flicker of lights broke the silence. The hangar doors were closed, but Caleb felt the familiar pressure in his chest, the same one that told him the ship was alive. He unlocked the doors and stepped inside. The shadows of the hangar stretched long across the floor, but the ship stood in the center, dark, angular, and waiting. Lily followed silently, carrying her tools and portable scanner. She glanced at Caleb. "You look like you didn't sleep," she said. Caleb shook his head. I keep thinking about yesterday, about what the ship showed me." He paused, running a hand over the hull. "It's not just alive, it's aware, and it's judging me." Lily frowned. "Judging, what does that mean?" Caleb stepped closer to the entrance hatch. "I don't know. But it feels like it's testing us. It doesn't attack, it doesn't speak, but it's aware of everything we do. I think it's waiting to see what we are capable of." He opened the hatch again. The interior was dark, but the light from their scanners revealed the walls covered in glowing markings and wires running in impossible patterns. The air smelled of metal and something else, faintly like ozone. Caleb stepped inside and the hum returned, low, vibrating through the floor, through his boots, through his body. It was stronger than ever before. He placed his hand on the console. Instantly, a surge of energy ran through him. The markings on the walls shifted, almost like they were breathing. A shadow moved in the far corner of the room. Caleb froze. He was not imagining it. The shadow had shape, but it was not solid. It pulsed, moved, and seemed to flow like liquid metal. Lily gasped. "What is that?" Caleb stepped back, eyes wide. "I don't know, it's guarding the ship." The shadow grew taller, stretching across the room. It was impossible to see where it began or ended. It moved without sound, yet the hum pulsed with it as if the ship and the shadow were one. Caleb's heart pounded. This was no machine, no ordinary defense system. It was alive in a way that made humans look fragile. "Stay calm," Caleb whispered to Lily. "Don't move too fast." The shadow pulsed closer, stopping a few meters from them. Then, without warning, a deep voice filled Caleb's mind. Not words, but thoughts. It was cold, ancient, and powerful. "Human, why are you here?" Caleb staggered, clutching the console. I am just curious. I bought the hangar. I mean no harm." The voice pulsed again. "Curiosity is weakness. Curiosity can destroy. Prove you are not a threat," Lily whispered behind him. "Caleb, it's speaking to you in your mind. What do we do?" Caleb swallowed hard. He could feel the presence of the Guardian in every corner of the room. It moved as if it knew where he would step next. He took a deep breath. I will not harm this ship. I will not try to control it. I only want to learn." The hum intensified. The markings glowed brighter. The shadow flowed closer, watching him. Caleb realized the Guardian was testing not his strength, but his intent. It was deciding if humans were dangerous or worthy. "Why do you show me this?" Caleb asked aloud. "What do you want?" The shadow pulsed. The voice in his mind answered again, softer this time. "You are different. Most humans are weak. They take without thought. They destroy without care. You consider, you pause, you think that is rare." Caleb nodded slowly. "I only want to understand. Maybe I can help." The Guardian shifted. It moved faster now, flowing across the walls and ceiling, scanning. Caleb felt its gaze on him, deep and penetrating. It reached into his thoughts, into his memories, into his fears. He tried not to resist. He did not want to hide anything. He wanted it to see him as he was. Lily watched silently. She felt fear and awe. She knew the being they faced was far beyond anything humans had encountered. She did not move, did not speak, afraid a wrong word would trigger a deadly response. Caleb stood firm. He could feel the vibration through his hands on the console. He whispered, "Look at us. We are fragile, we are small, but we fight to protect, not to destroy. We are weak, but we endure." The hum slowed. The shadow pulsed once, then flowed back, hovering above the floor like a river of liquid darkness. The voice returned, curious, almost thoughtful. "Humans, curious, fragile, persistent. You are not as simple as your kind suggests. Explain why you touch what you do not understand." Caleb took a deep breath. "Because we can learn, because understanding is better than fear. Because if we ignore what we do not understand, we repeat mistakes we do not want. I touch this ship because it matters. It is old. It is powerful. It could teach us things we have forgotten." The Guardian pulsed again, slower this time. The hum softened. Caleb felt the weight of its judgment. He realized something important: it did not know humans. It had watched civilizations rise and fall, but humans were new, unpredictable. It was curious about them and about him. You survive, you do not flee. Most humans would panic, destroy, or run. You wait, you watch, you endure. That is unusual. Caleb swallowed hard. I am not perfect. I am not strong. I am human, but I try to do what is right, and I try to protect others. The markings on the walls shifted again. The energy pulsed through the ship. The shadow slowly receded to the center of the room, merging with the ship itself. Caleb realized that the Guardian was not separate, it was part of the ship. The ship's power, its intelligence, and its defense were all one entity. It was alive, not in a way humans could measure, but in a way humans could respect. Lily finally spoke, her voice trembling. It's alive, it's testing you, but I think it's listening. Caleb nodded. He kept his hand on the console. I know, and I will show it. We are worth noticing. We are humans, yes, small, fragile, weak, but we endure, and we fight for more than ourselves. The Guardian pulsed once more slowly, and then a soft vibration filled the air. The hum became steady. Caleb felt relief, but also awe. He had survived the first test. He had proven intent, not strength. You may proceed, the voice said in his mind. Your kind is unexpected. Continue, human, learn, understand. But no, the Guardians will watch. We judge all who enter here. Caleb nodded slowly. He released the console and stepped back. The shadow flowed into the walls, settling like it had never moved. The hum softened, but the weight in the air remained. He realized that this ship was not just a relic. It was a weapon, a guardian, a memory of a war long forgotten, and it had chosen to notice him. Lily exhaled, shaking. You did it. You didn't get killed. Caleb smiled faintly. It wasn't about killing. It wanted to see if I could survive it, not by strength, but by thought, by intent. It tests the mind, not the body. They spent the rest of the day cautiously exploring more of the ship. The interiors were vast, more rooms filled with glowing markings, strange consoles, and strange materials that seemed alive. The Guardian did not attack. It observed. Every now and then, the hum would intensify as if checking their every move. Caleb realized something profound. This ship, this Guardian, had been built for a purpose. It had seen civilizations rise and fall. It had destroyed fleets, judged worlds, and now, after all that time, it had chosen to notice humans. Why us? Lily whispered. Caleb shook his head. I don't know, maybe it sees something in us. Maybe it knows we can endure what others cannot. Maybe it waits for the right moment to reveal its purpose. As night fell, they left the ship for the first time that day. The hum faded as the doors closed. Caleb felt the weight of what they had experienced. He had touched an ancient mind, survived its test, and learned more about humans in one day than most humans would in a lifetime. The Guardian watched silently inside the ship, aware of every thought, every intention. It had judged Caleb and found him worthy to proceed, but it had not yet revealed its full power. It had not yet tested the limits of what humans could endure. And Caleb knew, deep in his bones, that the true challenge was only beginning. He and Lily left the hangar quietly, their minds racing with possibilities. The ship had chosen to observe, to wait, and to teach. And whatever came next, they would have to face it, not with weapons, but with their minds, their intent, and the fragile persistence that made them human. The morning after the first test, Caleb and Lily returned to the hangar. The station was still quiet, almost empty. The hum of the air recyclers echoed faintly through the corridors. Caleb felt the familiar pressure in his chest, the weight of the ship watching, waiting, and judging him. He unlocked the hangar doors and stepped inside. The ship was there, dark and still, but alive. Lily followed quietly, carrying her scanner and tools. Do you think it remembers yesterday? She asked. Caleb nodded slowly. It does. It watches everything. It learns, and it remembers. We can't hide anything from it. They stepped closer to the ship. The hum returned immediately, vibrating softly through the floor. Caleb placed his hand on the console. Instantly, the glow of the markings intensified. The shadow, the Guardian, appeared again, moving across the walls and ceiling like liquid darkness. Caleb did not flinch. He had learned to stay calm, to show intent rather than fear. Human, the Guardian's voice filled his mind. You return, you survived the first test, now show your kind strength. Caleb swallowed hard. Strength, I'm not strong, humans are small, we are fragile. But we endure, we fight to protect, not to destroy. The hum pulsed. The Guardian seemed to consider his words. It moved closer, its shadow flowing along the walls, scanning, probing, sensing. Caleb could feel its intelligence reaching into his mind, measuring his thoughts, his fears, his hopes. Lily watched silently. She did not touch anything. She had learned that this being was not to be provoked. It was alive, aware, and infinitely powerful. She had also learned that Caleb could reach it in ways she could not. "Show your strength," the Guardian said again. Caleb hesitated. He had no weapons, no fleet, no armies. What could he show that would matter to a being that had seen civilizations rise and fall? Then he remembered. Humans were not strong in the usual sense, but they endured, they persisted, they protected. That was their power, he spoke clearly. "I can't fight like you fight. I can't destroy planets or fleets, but I can endure. I can protect others even if it costs me. I can learn, understand, and adapt. I can think and I can act for more than myself. That is human strength." The hum slowed. The Guardian's shadow paused in the air. It pulsed once, a slow, deliberate vibration. Caleb felt as if it was weighing his words, measuring their truth. He could not see its full form, but he could feel its presence everywhere. "Humans," the voice whispered in his mind. "Fragile, small, weak, yet persistent, enduring, protective, unusual." Caleb nodded. "We survive when others fail, we protect when others flee. We endure because we care for more than ourselves. That is why we are here. That is why I am here." The Guardian moved closer, the air vibrating strongly now. The markings on the walls pulsed in rhythm with the hum. Caleb felt a connection not just to the console, but to the ship itself. It was as if the ship wanted him to understand its memory, its purpose, and its power. "Show this in action," the Guardian demanded. Caleb looked around. He had no weapons. He could not summon fleets. But he could protect. He moved to the nearest damaged panel and began repairing it. The ship's systems hummed as he worked, responding not to commands, but to his careful, patient touch. Wires reconnected, circuits stabilized, and energy flowed. The ship's glow brightened. Lily watched, amazed. "He's repairing it without instructions. He's not trying to control it, he's helping it." Caleb spoke softly. "I am not here to control you. I am here to protect what is important. I am human, and this matters." The Guardian pulsed. The shadow flowed around the room, then hovered above the console. The hum intensified, filling Caleb's mind with a rhythm, not threatening, but observing, understanding. "Humans," it whispered again, "your kind does not conquer blindly. Your kind preserves. You endure for others, unusual, rare, worthy, perhaps." Caleb continued working. He touched more panels, more consoles. Systems long dead began to respond. Lights flickered on. Energy coursed through circuits that had not been active for centuries. The ship was awakening, not under his command, but through his care. He was showing the Guardian what humans could do: protect, endure, and repair without thought of selfish gain. The shadow pulsed faster now, flowing along the walls, tracing the energy lines Caleb restored. The hum became a steady vibration, almost comforting. The ship was alive, and it was responding to humans in a way it had never responded before. "You understand us," the Guardian said. "You're kind, small, fragile, enduring. You think beyond yourself. You act beyond yourself. Rare, unexpected." Caleb paused, breathing heavily. He realized something incredible. The Guardian did not just want strength. It wanted understanding. It wanted to see if humans could act with intention, with thought, with care. It was not about power. It was about perspective. Lily whispered, "It's learning from you, Caleb. Maybe it's respecting you." Caleb nodded. "I think it is. It sees that humans fight to protect, not to conquer. That is our strength." The hum shifted, becoming a soft vibration that pulsed through the floor and walls. The markings on the ship's interior shimmered, almost like waves of light. Caleb felt a connection stronger than before. He was not controlling the ship. He was communicating, not with words, but with intent and action. "Humans," the Guardian's voice softened. "Perhaps your kind is worthy. Perhaps your kind can endure what others cannot. Show this again." Caleb continued working, fixing broken panels, reconnecting circuits, repairing systems without thought of reward. Every time he acted, he felt the ship responding. Energy flowed, systems hummed, and the shadow pulsed with recognition. He understood now. The ship and its Guardian were not enemies. They were ancient, yes, and powerful, yes, but they were also observers, testers of intent. Hours passed. Caleb did not stop. Lily assisted, but she stayed cautious, letting him lead. Together, they restored small systems, repaired energy conduits, and stabilized panels that had been dead for centuries. The ship's hum became steady, almost soothing. The shadow no longer moved aggressively. It flowed with calm, watching. Finally, Caleb stepped back. He was exhausted, but the ship was alive. Lights glowed along corridors, panels hummed with energy, and the Guardian's presence felt steady. The hum filled the room, not threatening but acknowledging. "Human," the voice whispered, calm now. "Your kind is unexpected, persistent, enduring, protective, worthy. Continue, and perhaps together we may endure what others cannot." Caleb nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. He had passed the second test. He had not fought, he had not conquered, but he had shown the Guardian the essence of humanity: endurance, protection, and care beyond self. Lily watched him, eyes wide. You did it again." "You didn't fight, but it respected you." Caleb smiled faintly. "It's not about respect. It's about showing what humans truly are. We survive because we endure. We fight for others. We protect because we must. That is our answer to threats, no matter how ancient or powerful." The Guardian pulsed once more, slowly, its shadow settling in the center of the room. The hum became steady, almost like a heartbeat. Caleb realized the ship had accepted him, at least partially. It would observe, guide, and perhaps even aid humans in ways the galaxy could not yet understand. As night fell over the station, Caleb and Lily left the hangar. The ship remained alive inside, its hum filling the empty hangar. Caleb felt the weight of what they had done. They had touched an ancient mind, survived its judgment, and demonstrated the strength of humans, not in weapons but in endurance and protection. He knew the next challenges would be greater. The Guardian had acknowledged humanity's worth, but the galaxy would not yet see it. He and Lily had unlocked a force far beyond human understanding, and they had survived. Caleb whispered as they walked away, "This is only the beginning. We have shown it what we are. Now we must see what it will show us." And deep inside the ship, the Guardian pulsed, watching, learning, and waiting. It had judged Caleb and found him worthy. It had begun to understand humans. And it knew that the trials ahead would test not just strength, but endurance, intent, and the fragile persistence that made humanity unique. The morning sun barely lit the dead planet below the station. Caleb Harris walked toward the hangar with Lily Carter by his side. The hum of the station was quiet, but inside the hangar a low vibration pulsed in rhythm like a heartbeat. Caleb felt it as soon as he opened the doors. The ship was awake, fully awake. It glowed faintly along its angular hull, and the Guardian's shadow flowed calmly through the interior, watching them. Lily carried her scanner but stayed silent. She had learned the importance of letting Caleb lead. He had connected with the ship in ways no human had ever done. He had shown the Guardian that humans endured, that they protected, that they thought beyond themselves. Now the ship would finally reveal its power. Caleb stepped forward, hand on the console. The glow intensified beneath his fingers. Energy pulsed through the panels and wires, flowing like rivers through the ship. The Guardian's presence was steady, watching, observing, testing no longer. It had accepted him. "Human," the Guardian spoke in his mind, calm now. "You have endured, you have acted with care. You have shown your kind strength. Now see what you are capable of." Caleb swallowed hard. He felt the weight of its words. The ship was no longer just a relic. It was alive, a weapon of ancient design, a guardian of civilizations long past. But now it was awake, and it had chosen humanity as its successor, its companion. He stepped further inside. The interior lights shone clearly, revealing corridors and chambers filled with technology older than any human star charts. The hum vibrated under his boots, steady, reassuring. Caleb realized the ship was not dangerous now. It was aware, but not hostile. It waited for humans to understand it. "I understand," Caleb whispered. "We are not here to destroy. We are here to endure. We are small, yes, but we protect. We fight for others, not for ourselves." The Guardian pulsed in response, faster now. Energy flowed along the hull like light through veins. The markings shifted, forming new patterns, almost like it was communicating, teaching. Caleb touched one of the glowing panels. Images flashed in his mind: past wars, alien fleets, planets destroyed, civilizations ending. The ship's memory was vast, and it was sharing it. Lily watched, her eyes wide. "It's showing you everything," she whispered. "All the history it has seen," Caleb nodded. "It's teaching us. It wants us to learn, to understand. It wants humans to survive what others could not." He moved carefully, touching more panels, guiding energy along the circuits. The ship responded to his touch, not as a tool, but as a partner. It pulsed with approval, glowing brighter as systems that had been dead for centuries came alive. Engines hummed faintly. The hum of the ship merged with the Guardian's presence, steady and powerful. Then Caleb felt it, a surge of energy that ran through the hangar and beyond. The ship had awakened fully. It was alive in every sense, and it recognized humanity as its chosen partner. The Guardian's shadow flowed across the walls, a calm river of power, no longer threatening, no longer a test. It was a companion observing, protecting, and guiding. Humans, the Guardian's voice filled his mind. You're kind, fragile, small, enduring, you act for more than yourselves. Unexpected, rare, worthy. Your kind will inherit what others could not. You will endure, and through you the galaxy may yet endure. Caleb's chest swelled. He felt awe and fear, but also hope. This ship, this Guardian, had chosen to align with humans. The most feared weapon of a lost civilization now recognized them not as prey, not as weaklings, but as survivors, protectors, and thinkers. Lily stepped forward. Caleb, what do we do now? Caleb looked at her, eyes wide. We learn, we understand, we don't use this for war unless we must. We protect. That is what it wants. That is what we are capable of. The ship pulsed again. Lights shimmered, systems activated fully. The hangar doors no longer felt like barriers. They felt like the entrance to something far bigger than either of them. Caleb realized that the galaxy outside would never be the same once the ship moved beyond this station. He touched the console one last time. Images of distant stars, fleets, and alien worlds filled his mind. He saw the consequences of war, the fragility of civilizations, and the rare moments when humanity endured against impossible odds. He understood that the ship had witnessed all this and chosen humans because of their persistence, their willingness to protect and survive, even when alone. Your kind, the Guardian whispered again, will be tested, you will be judged, but you endure. Your strength lies not in conquest, but in protection. Your kind is rare, human, remember this. Endure, and you will change the galaxy. Caleb felt the energy flow through him. He turned to Lily. This ship, it's not ours to command. It's ours to understand, to learn from, to protect. It will fight with humans when necessary, but it is not a weapon to control. It is alive. It is aware. It is guardian, Lily nodded. I understand, we protect it, we respect it, and we survive. Caleb smiled faintly. Yes. We survive, and we endure. That is what humans do. As they stepped out of the hangar, the ship behind them pulsed gently, lights shimmering along its hull. The hum filled the empty bay like a heartbeat, steady and calm. Caleb felt a deep connection. He knew that the ship, the Guardian, and humanity were now linked in a way that no one else could understand. Over the next days, Caleb and Lily worked quietly to stabilize the ship's systems further. They did not attempt to control it. They did not attempt to weaponize it. They repaired panels, reconnected circuits, and allowed the ship to function as it wished. The Guardian watched them, observing every action, measuring their intent. Outside the station, other ships began to notice energy readings from the hangar. Rumors spread of a powerful vessel, long thought destroyed or lost, now active. The galactic councils and fleets became nervous. They could not yet understand that the ship had chosen humans not as conquerors, but as partners, protectors, and learners. Caleb knew they would come. Other humans, other species, governments, and fleets would want the ship. Some would fear it. Some would try to take it. But he and Lily had already learned the truth. This ship was alive. It was ancient. It had power beyond imagination. And it had chosen humans because of their endurance, their will to protect, and their unexpected persistence. One evening, Caleb stood alone in the hangar. The hum of the ship filled the air. He placed a hand on the hull and whispered, "We will endure, we will protect. And we will learn together." The ship pulsed in response, a steady rhythm that seemed to echo through the station and beyond. The Guardian's shadow flowed across the walls, calm and powerful. It no longer tested. It no longer judged harshly. It had accepted humanity as its companion. And in the galaxy outside, fleets and civilizations waited, unaware that the most feared weapon of an ancient age now walked with humans, not as a tool, but as a guardian, an observer, and a partner. The balance of power would shift, not by conquest, but by endurance, understanding, and protection. Caleb left the hangar that night, exhausted but determined. He and Lily had witnessed the awakening. They had survived the tests. They had shown the Guardian the essence of humanity. The ship would act when needed, but it was not theirs to command. They had learned the most important lesson. Humans endure, protect, and survive, not because they are the strongest, but because they are the most persistent. As Caleb looked back at the glowing hull, he realized the truth. The galaxy would never see humans the same way again. Fleets would tremble, Empires would hesitate, and civilizations would wonder how such fragile creatures could wield such impossible power. The Guardian's hum filled the hangar one last time, that night, steady, calm, and powerful. It had judged humanity, and it had chosen them. The warship was no longer junk. It was alive, aware, and bound by choice to humans. The galaxy would learn this truth, but perhaps too late to prepare. Caleb whispered to the ship, "Thank you, we will not fail, we endure, we protect, we survive." And inside the hangar, the hum of the ancient warship continued, a heartbeat of an age long forgotten, now aligned with the persistence and care of humanity. The galaxy outside remained unaware, but the first human steps into an ancient legacy had been taken, and nothing would ever be the same.